all the aspects of our nature, the unconscious aspects of our nature, get filtered through life itself. So us living our lives and through our experiences, we're filtering out all these negative genes and shadows by living and experiencing. And through this process, we're distilling down into less and less images of what we think should be the highest image. And through this process, we actually distill so far that the image becomes one. And this image is our nemesis because it is the stopping of evolution and saying at this point there's nowhere else to go. And by facing off with this demon, or what they call the doppelganger in Freudian language, it's through this process of standing toe to toe with it and existing in this space, can you transcend it? And through allowing this to flow so deeply within you, you become one with it. And at that point, you become the light. And you become like the divine energy. And we only use the term light because that's the closest thing that we can perceive as what it could be, but that it's so pure that it's just light itself. But yeah, does that make sense? Like something. So basically, like within ourselves, we have so many negative traits. Like you and I get disagreement all the time.
I see.
Like today, for specific comparison, we got in an argument about communication. And so he's pointing out something that I do that I'm not even aware that I do. But I just have been doing it for so long that I'm like, it just blows past my mind as something that could be wrong because it's just the way that I communicate. And so he points it out and I'm like, oh, I guess I do that. And it's like, well, I don't know.
That's not how I went down.
Okay, well, this is the way that it should have gone down. So basically at the acidic level, you have like the uprooting of good and evil. And so the duality itself is transcended, like we were saying, with the two perspectives to the center perspective, third person perspective. And basically, so becoming more aware of these things that you're doing allows you to become a better version of yourself. And through this processing of like fine tuning, as uncomfortable and as undesirable as it can seem in the moment, it is through this process that we become pure. And only through the reflections of another or something else can we even begin to understand what that means. It's like if you don't have someone that's brutally honest with you, you can't really be aware of the faults within your character because they're so deeply ingrained. And they can be so deeply ingrained that they exist from before you, that they're existing from ancestral traumas or past existences and lifetimes, and they're coming up in you so that they can be transmuted. And should be one of our objectives is to try to transmute that and try, because that aids in the collective consciousness. It's like through us filtering through ourselves, we help everyone else around us. And
through the collective subconscious elements?
And yeah, so and through this process, we go back to the Garden of Eden and we can see life through the eyes of a child. And like the playful nature and being innocent and pure. But it's basically, like we were saying, you have to go through the darkness to get to the light. And only through this process can we return back to they say Atlantean or Edenic evolution.
Yeah, it reminds me of like the same thing with the structure and the open mind. It's like first you learn structure and then you try to go back to the beginning, or of how you thought before you were ingrained in the structure.
Yeah, so it's like reforming and re-envisioning and reimagining the future. And let me see. Yeah, they were saying so the harmonic convergence happened in 1987. And the best thing that I can reimagine this as, if you haven't seen it, it's the Avatar, the animated series. And not the one with the blue people, but the Avatar, the Last Airbender. And some people are turned off by animated series, but I'm telling you, the message that comes through this is worth the watch, regardless of your preconceptions. And yeah, so the harmonic convergence happens every 10,000 years. And this is not just through this series, it's actually real in real life. Happens every 10,000 years, basically, when the good and the bad, they go to war, basically.